Hello everyone, this is Sherry at Soul Conscious Tarot, and this is going to be a reading for the new moon in Pisces that's going to occur in just a few days on the 10th of March. So I don't know if you've seen other readings, if you've seen other astrologers that have posted something for the new moon. But one I have seen recently, and I feel that it's very apropos to this full moon, is they described it as the calm before the storm. And I feel that that is very apt. It's a very good description because, at the end of March, we're going to be running into the full moon, followed by the eclipse on April 8th, and then Mercury retrograde. So the end of the month is going to be really, really bumpy. It's going to be a lot of craziness going on an astrological standpoint. So with the energies at play. So this is like almost like the next, couple weeks is kind of that calm before the storm. So I picked this oracle deck here, which is the Ocean Guardians, I think. It'll be in the description below, but since the new moon is in Pisces, I wanted to try and use decks that I had on hand that had more of a water feel to them. So kind of that emotional, water, dreamy feel like that Pisces gives off and portrays. So very interesting that we have whales and sharks here on these cards. So we have the 28 card coming up here, seeing both sides. Take a step back and try looking at this from a different perspective. So, and it's interesting because hammerhead sharks can be very, very dangerous, especially if you find yourself, not that most people would ever find themselves in this situation, but if you find yourself in hammerhead shark breeding grounds, it can be very, very dangerous. They can be very aggressive creatures. But, the other thing too is sharks typically are not like, they won't attack, or as most animals won't attack unless they're provoked in some way or they feel threatened. And so this is kind of telling me that there might be something that comes up during this new moon where it's going to require us to see both sides of the coin, to step outside of ourselves and our own reactions to a situation, to be able to see the full picture, to be able to see, take the wounding and the trauma off the plate, off the table, and look at it from an outside perspective when our feelings aren't at play, especially with this new moon. It's in Pisces, it's a water sign, it's emotional. Whenever we're talking about water, we're talking about emotions. And Pisces is that deep, dreamy. I like that we have like this kind of ocean depths, because it is like, that very deep emotions, those that run very deep. So this is talking about something that could, possibly bring up something that at this time, that's from the very, very depths, deep down, something that you weren't even aware of, within yourself, that something, might be triggered at this time that you weren't even aware of, that's wanting you to take a look at it. It's interesting that's coming through. We'll see how that comes to play. I have quite a few decks here that I want to pull for this reading, and I apologize if the lighting's not really good. It is an extremely rainy day here, so it's very dark. There's not a lot of natural light coming through. So we have 48, which is, we have 28 and 48. We have this escalation. Disengage from outcomes. Let go so you can open yourself to the highest love that you deserve. Find ways to release worry or any unresolved lack of forgiveness that you might be holding on to. Awesome. I mean, I love how these kind of play together, because it's saying, to be able to see both sides of, be able to see, all perspectives, to be able to see both sides. So, this is almost getting to our relationships and our interpersonal relationships at this time. And being able, because even this disengage from outcomes, all of this is, both of these cards are really talking about being able to disconnect from our emotions and not let our emotions get the best of us when we're trying to make decisions. This is talking about, being able to open yourself up to the highest form of love. And the highest form of love is unconditional love. And that can be very, very hard for many, many, many of us on this planet right now, because most people have been taught through society and their families and what they know as being conditional love. We've been, a lot of us have been raised in conditional love, that something, that people are required to do something for you in return for your love. Like there's an expectation that somebody needs to do something. One of the things that I see quite regularly is like that if people wanted to be in your life, they would. Well, yes and no, because you're not taking into the account that person, and that person, for who they really are. Maybe they have some issues going on in their life, as far as maybe they were raised in a way, that they're more introverted in nature, that it's not easy for them to connect to others, that it's hard for them. They're not extroverted, so they don't reach out and don't engage. So it's understanding the person, or maybe they have anxiety or they have depression, some kind of mental illness that keeps them from fully engaging with you and being present in the way that you want them to be present. So it's being aware, really loving other people for accepting them and loving them for who they are, and not having those expectations, not placing expectations on things, so that you can receive the highest version of love, and you therefore also can give the highest version of love, because now you're not expecting others to place, you're not putting expectations on others. You're accepting and loving others for who they are, and therefore they can return that love in the way that they're able to, whatever that looks like for them. So this is why it says, release, find ways to release worry or any unresolved lack of forgiveness that you might be holding on to. So this is really saying there's things that might be coming up during this new moon to really let you see where you maybe aren't forgiving. You haven't forgiven somebody for something, some egregious act that you have taken personally upon yourself to feel slighted, when it may not have anything to do with you. It may not, that maybe there could be there could have been a misunderstanding that you're not aware of. I think I'm going to put these cards in the center. I do want to pull at least one card, maybe more. I'm about balance, so it might throw me off if it's slightly out of balance pulling one card, but we'll let spirit decide. But I'm aiming for one card from the Shaman's Dream deck here. One card, please, on this new moon in Pisces, please. Give me one card from the Shaman's Dream deck, please. What could you tell us about this new moon in Pisces, please? Okay, so it did give me one. Oh, look at all those blues. Look at all the blues that are coming out here. All this water. Love it. Oh, look at this. Will-o'-the-wisp. Treasures hidden in the shadows. And I get, and then we have 62, which reduces down to an 8. So I was trying to look at the numbers. We have lots of 8s here. I mean, yeah, I know this reduces down to 12 and 3. It goes down to 3, and then we have 10, which reduces down to a 5, which is interesting because we have the sharks on there, which can talk about 5s can be change and conflict. Typically, I associate 5s with change, some kind of disruption that brings about change. And that could happen definitely with, being able to see from a different perspective and seeing outside of the box, so to speak, on a situation. But this is really that feeling that we kind of talked about, something coming up from the depths that might be so deep within us, that's buried, that's coming up to the surface, that might, something we're just not even aware of, that maybe was causing an issue. And I want to say it's around how we show up in the world, how we love others, or how we let others love us, is what I feel is coming through strongly. That's going to come up at this time, something you may not be aware of, how, what has been a blockage. It's an awareness of this blockage that we have. And of course it's going to be, I hate that I can't be specific, but it is going to be different for everyone, because we all have different, we were all raised differently. We all have different beliefs and values. And so, we all have different traumas. We all have different things of, it could be a number of things of how we're, I am going to post something I put together, and I found it a really good analogy, but I'll go ahead and share it here for those that may not, look at my community page or whatever. But I will post that when I post this video. It was an analogy of this full moon, and I found it kind of cute. It was basically about Neptune and Moon and its friend Moon go to the bar. And during the course of the night, the moon gets a little drunk, gets a little hammered, and spills his emotions all over the bar. Well, I think it's Uranus, who is also Moon's friend, but has been sitting on the sidelines in the background in the bar watching the whole evening transpire, comes up and realizes, see the position that Moon is in, where he's kind of feeling sorry for himself, that he's spilt, that he feels like nothing, like he's spilt his emotions all over the bar. And now that they're all spilled, they can't be picked up, that he can't fix it, he can't fix the problem. So he's kind of crying over spilt milk. But Uranus is there to kind of his Moon's optimistic friend, kind of says, comes up and comforts him and reassures Moon and says, hey, we can clean this up. Everything will be okay. So that's kind of the analogy. I thought that was a cute story of anecdote of this this new moon in Pisces. It really is about emotions coming up, and seeing those emotions or whatever comes up. You see that, and it's almost like you don't want to forgive yourself for, behaving that way, because now you're aware of this blockage that you have, and you're like, there's going to be this tendency to not want to change that, to not want, just say this is who I am and just accept it, and not really do anything with it. And this is to say, there's Uranus in the picture that's saying, hey, you have come so far. Don't let this one thing stop you. Don't let this one thing hold you back. You're almost there. You're almost to the finish line. So keep going, keep moving forward. It's going to be okay. So that's the message is that it's going to be okay. So don't, whatever this is that comes up for you personally, that at this time, that you're feeling that you're, whatever that is, maybe feeling not good enough, not feeling lovable, feeling like, whatever that feeling is that comes up, for you to look at and to address, and that's making itself aware at this time. It's something to not ignore, okay? It's something that's going to help propel you forward if you're willing to look at it. Look at this, guided lessons, perfect. And again, water, we have all this water that's coming up. Your higher self is guiding you to make mistakes so that you can learn important lessons. So this is exactly what I've been saying for this new moon. Something's going to happen, something's going to come up, something's going to occur that is going to help you see something. It's a lesson to help you heal something. I really feel like it's really about helping us heal something to prepare us for what is to come. Because I believe that, as I've said, that if we look at the fact that this year in the Chinese calendar is the year of the dragon, and next year is the year of the snake. Those are both animals that require adaptability, flexibility. It's about things are going to be constantly shifting and changing. So we need to be able to shift and change and be quick on our feet. We can't be mired and stuck in the mud. I have a feeling that certain signs, fixed signs, and probably more earth signs that are challenged when it comes to flexibility and change and adaptability are going to have a harder time transitioning and working through the next couple years in this energy that's all about being flexible and adaptive and really just being quick on your feet and being able to roll with the punches and go with the flow. If you can't do that, I think you may find the next couple of years might be tough to navigate. Not that it's going to be bad, but it's going to be harder for you to navigate unless you can be flexible, unless you can prepare for the unexpected. And I think that's what this new moon is it's like I said, the calm before the storm. It's before that kind of unstable energy comes in. We're like right at the cusp of it. So the universe is like bringing something up at this time for us to look at is what might be the showstopper for us that's going to keep us from being that flexible, I'm sitting here going like a snake wiggling, like snake, like being able to be flexible and being able to prepare for the unexpected. And that's what's going to be extremely, extremely important right now, is being able to prepare for the unexpected. And so I really feel like, as I said, what's coming up at this time is something that it's gonna be like something that's gonna be that rub that's gonna who was it? There was another thing that I heard recently, and it wasn't pertaining necessarily, I don't think, to the new moon, but it was like somebody was saying about dragging metal across metal. Like you're dragging metal across metal and it makes a loud noise and creates sparks. And so it's like finding the padding. And I feel like that's what this new moon is trying to help us find, the padding that helps, so that we don't have that scraping of metal against metal is basically like, like dragging our feet, through the next couple of years, like trying to fight and resist against the changes and the kind of chaos that might ensue. And I don't know that the chaos is going to be good or bad. It's just going to be, there's just going to be a need to be like, there's just going to be a lot of unexpected twists and turns that we may not be aware that's going to be happening. And so it really is finding the cushion for ourselves that's going to allow us to be more flexible and more adaptable over the next coming years. I hope that makes sense. I hope that really helps explain what I'm feeling. Okay, I have two that wants to come out there. So this is, again, the higher self oracle, I believe. So we have hidden enemies coming out here. Be aware of your environment. There are people who are selfishly motivated in your life who are not your friends. And then crossroads. Crossroads is that it can be two of wands, but this is with these swords, it's giving me two of swords energy. It's entirely up to you if you want to continue on the same path or take a risk and start something new. Yes, this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. This, I really feel like this right here is definitely playing on, I want to put this on here, but I feel like I don't want to cover everything up. I feel like this is strongly tied to this will o' the wisp card, that there's treasures hidden in the shadows, in the depths. And I feel like, this is really talking about, like, we can go forward or we can go back. Like, we can stay stuck where we are and not want to embrace the new and the changes and the unexpected that may be coming. We can stay stuck in our ways, and it's gonna, if we do, it's gonna be that metal against metal, where we're gonna have that resistance, and it's gonna, it's not going to be pleasant. That's not a pleasant sound. Metal against metal is not a pleasant sound. So if you think about that, that's what your life is going to be if you can't be flexible and adaptable in the next couple of years. If you can't just roll with the punches and the changes, then it's going to be, it might be a little bit, it's going to be like that metal against metal, kind of analogy for your life, where it's going to be trying, it's going to be challenging, it's going to be hard on your ears to hear that, because there's a choice. This is crossroads. It's a choice. We can either choose to not do something about what's coming up at this time, what's being made aware to us at this time, or we can ignore it. We can choose to blow it off and ignore it, and just, it comes up and we just, whatever, and blow it off. But in the process of doing that, you're going to miss out on potentially a lot of great opportunities that are coming up that require that open-mindedness, that willing to maybe forgive, because it could be that, especially with this hidden enemies, that people that you thought were your friends, that you thought were there for you, because we have this rose and the thorn, and I love how we have the snake here. And I said 2025 is going to be the year of the snake, and we have the snake that's coming out here being represented, but we have the thorns, the rose here with the thorns, that something that we think is good and lucrative, that might, something that we trust, that we believe to be beautiful, might actually not be. And so it's really, it really is speaking to, again, being able to see the truth, to be able, again, it comes back to, being able to see from a different perspective, being able to pull your emotions, come outside of your emotions and look at situations from a very objective point of view, where where they're not, your decisions aren't being made or aren't being ruled by your emotions, so that you can make sound judgments, sound decisions. Because it could be that people that you thought maybe were your enemies in the past, that you've pushed away, that you haven't forgiven because of some slight they've caused you, they could end up having an opportunity for you that comes in, and because you in the past you have pushed them away for whatever reason, you're not willing to accept that opportunity that they may be bringing into your life that could propel you forward. So it's really, whereas someone that you trust may end up stabbing you in the back, because you're trusting someone that you thought was good, where you're pushing away people that may have hurt you in the past for whatever reason. And that hurt, and what I'm getting here strongly for some of you, and this is what's really coming through strongly, is what's coming up is there's something, there wouldn't have, that message wouldn't have came through, or wouldn't be coming through, if it wasn't true for someone out there, where you have pushed somebody away because you were hurt by them, because of the wounding that you carry. And so this new moon is bringing something to the surface, making you aware of maybe where you misjudge someone's actions because of the wounding that you carry. And if you can't heal that and forgive yourself and that other person of, whatever the disruption was, that cause of the rift between you and another person, you may miss out on a wonderful opportunity for growth, not only, in your life, maybe not even from a mental, emotional level, but also the opportunities of maybe that person knows somebody, or maybe they have something that they're willing to offer you that is going to help propel you forward. Whereas staying with people that you think are your friends because maybe they're trauma bonded. I'm getting that strongly, that these hidden enemies that you have, there are people that maybe you have trauma bonded with, and they're staying stuck in, they're in your life because you both have the same traumas, so you relate and you get along because you understand each other. But that doesn't mean that it's for your highest good, because and that's not gonna be the case for everyone in your life, but I have a feeling that's what's coming through strongly with this hidden enemies card, is there might be, and this, you have to take it as it resonates, but there might be someone in your life around you that you may be trauma bonded with, that maybe doesn't have your interest, maybe talks about you behind your back, maybe is a little bit envious, jealous of you, and because of that envy and jealousy, is really, they're doing things to try and, they're putting the energy out there of hate towards you. They want to see your downfall. They're not wanting to see your success. And because of that, they may put on a mask and a fake, they may pretend to be your best friend, but really in reality, they're not, they're really just, they're really, and it's not going to be, of course, for everyone. You have to take that how it resonates. But I'm getting a really strong feeling here for somebody out there, for it to come through this strongly, that there's somebody out there that has trauma bonded with someone in their life, and that they could end up causing more harm than good for you. So let's see. I've got that. Let's go ahead, and I did want to pull one of these. I want to pull something from the animal deck here, animal spirit deck here. Give me an animal card representing this new moon. There we go. The whale. Look at that. Oh, you got to be kidding me. We got all kinds of, look at all those little ocean critters coming out. All those water critters coming out. But one thing about whales are full of wisdom. They're very, even, I like, we have this playful energy too. And I wanted to put it on the sharks. And it's interesting, and because this is talking about, like, maybe seeing something incorrectly, and sometimes we mistake, because of the dorsal fin, we mistake dolphins for sharks. And so I feel like this is really saying that there's something maybe we have misjudged, maybe a person or a situation we have misjudged. I'm getting that really strongly. It's interesting that came out that way. But then we have here this intuition, this wisdom. We have these whales everywhere, really that are wise, they're intuitive. So it's like really using your intuition, to feel. It's interesting, feel your way through, because we're Pisces and it's emotions and it's deep emotions. It's to really feel in your heart and soul what the truth is, like really understand what the truth is, from a higher perspective, not from a place of low vibrational energy of hate and anger and those kind of energies, but from a place of love, from a higher place of love, looking at it from a higher vibrational standpoint of not trying not to judge people, to really see, why the people act the way that they do because of the upbringing they had, to understand that their actions may be a result of their upbringing or society, or the pain that they're still carrying and living with day to day, that maybe the actions they took towards you weren't meant to hurt you. So it's taking that higher perspective. Let's go ahead and I want to get a gemstone for this new moon. Is there a crystal that we can associate with this new moon, work with, that might help us during this new moon time? What crystal can we work with to help us during this new moon? For those that work with crystals or want to work with crystals, we have meteorite, unexpected. The finest of pleasures are always the unexpected ones. Ooh, I really, 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 really love that. I'm going to actually put this over here because I get this, like, I'm getting, I don't know, see those, it's like the same kind of like crack there with lava coming up almost. Interesting. But this is that unexpected, unexpected, but it's like, it's meant to happen. We're meant to go through this because it's for our personal growth. I do want to go ahead and pull. I think I'm going to pull 3 tarot, and then we'll see if there's anything else that I want to clarify or bring through. But I feel like we're doing really good on, I think this is doing really good on giving us a really good perspective of the messages and energy of this new moon. I really feel like it's hit on quite a bit. I love that the unexpected is coming out, because we talked about that the next 2 years are going to be about the unexpected and being able to be adaptable, being able to go with the flow. I mean, think about water. Water is flowing, rivers and oceans, the tides, the currents. It's always changing. It's always flowing, and it's being able to go with the flow. That's what's going to be important. And what is coming up at this time is the blockages that are it's making you aware of where you might be stuck. What is, like, where you might be the stick in the current that's keeping you from flowing downriver, where you might be hung up and stuck at this time to keep you from flowing forward and keep you from flowing. We have the Chariot energy, that movement, that can be fast movement. It also can be, the spirit, it's a spiritual card. It's about spiritual growth. It's about moving forward, transitioning to a higher awareness, a higher, it can be a card. It's of moving, like spiritual awakening, where you're moving in a high, from a lower vibrational to a higher vibrational energy. It's taking you to your castle, to your pie in the sky, because you're awakening, aware of something, and because of that awareness, it propels you forward in a new direction. I don't always explain the Chariot like that, but that is kind of one of the sort of meanings of it, but that's what's wanting to come through for here, for that Chariot. And then we have the 8 of Swords. Of course we're going to be in our head. Of course there's going to be some, because that's what this is about. It's bringing up something so that we can change. Because what is the new moon about? It's about new beginnings. It's about new starts. It's about doing things differently. It's about changing something so that we can, reap what we sow. Whatever seeds that we plant during this new moon time, we sow those at the end of the month when we hit the full moon. So it's making those changes. The habit, they talk about it takes 21 days to implement a new habit. Well, that's almost the time between the new moon and the full moon. It's a cycle, so it's putting those habits in place during the time of the new moon, that if you put them in place and work at them every day, by the time of the new moon, that's going to be a new habit and a new thing that you implement in your life, because now you've changed your way of living. You've implemented that habit and made it maybe more permanent in your life. And then we have the 8 of Cups, and this is really, I like that we have, well, it's a crescent moon, but I get that I'm feeling that new moon energy off of that very, very, very strongly. But that person is looking up at the moon, following the moon, letting the moon guide her. I'm saying her because it's a her on the card. Letting that full moon guide her to her ninth cup. She's happy with the 8 cups that she has, but she knows she's missing that ninth and 10th cup. She's letting the moon lead the way toward her 9 cup. And what's the 9 cups? 9 cups in the tarot is wish fulfillment. It's our happiness. It's what we desire. It's what we want. She's trying to find that thing that she wants that's going to make her happy, because she's already lived this 8 cups. She already knows what this 8 cups represents. She doesn't need to stay there anymore. She doesn't need to hang out in that energy anymore. She's already obtained those 8 cups. And that's where I feel like, this is like all those 8 cups are representing every, our experiences in life. It's everything all the knowledge we've accumulated at this time, but there's still missing information. There's still lessons that need to be learned. And look, we have guided lessons. And so this is what I feel like, this is the guided lesson. She's using the moon as a guide to find, to learn, to step outside of her comfort zone, because this is where she's comfortable. This is what she knows to be true. So this is where she's comfortable, the energy she's comfortable in, but she's moving away from that. She's letting the moon guide her to whether that's, just taking that risk, taking that chance to learn the lessons, to figure out where her 9th cup is, to learn and figure out that 9th cup. So beautiful. I love that. I love that. And this is just, I'm not surprised the 8 of Swords would come out here, because, we're talking about life lessons. We're talking about stuff coming up that needs to be looked at, that, maybe that we need to examine. I mean, look at, she's got her hand there on her chin, trying to contemplate something, trying to think about something, and she's surrounded by these swords, and that are all stuck in the mud. Again, we talked about that, stuck in the mud. We don't want to be stuck in the mud at this time. We don't want to let ourselves, hold ourselves back, because all that's going to do is make things more challenging. It's going to keep us from moving forward. It's going to, because we are going to experience a lot of unexpected situations, I think, that are going to occur over the next couple of years, with being, in the energy of the dragon and the snake. So I love this. There's so many messages, so much that's come through in this reading. So I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope you get a lot out of it. And I really hope it helps you navigate this full moon and the energies around this full moon that are probably, I've already started experiencing them, honestly. I started experiencing and feeling, I usually do feel things a few days early, because I'm very sensitive to the energies. So I usually pick up on them, right when they're starting to come in. So I was starting to feel this really strongly yesterday. I was starting to feel, which is why I was moved to pull on this new moon, because it was really pulling on me. I had some stuff that was coming up already for me to look at. So I really hope that this really helps you navigate not only this new moon, but what's to come. The information about the, being able to be flexible, adaptable, in this year's energies and next year's energies, as we're under the influence of the dragon and the snake. So I really hope that helps you. And of course, we'll see how that transpires as we keep going throughout this year and the next with our readings. So thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate your time, effort, and energy that you share with me when you come to these readings. I appreciate it. If you haven't liked or subscribed, I hope you'll consider doing that. Of course, always feel free to leave comments. I thank you so much once again. Much harmony and gratitude to you in your upcoming life.